Hey everyone, welcome to a workshop of the OpenLM reporting. I am Sagi, and in the next 30 minutes or so, we will be going over a few reports in OpenLM, but we will go deep into them. We will take a look at how we can combine all the reports to get meaningful insights on the licenses themselves. So we'll be able to know the health of a certain license, if it's underused, if it's overused. You can tell exactly how many licenses you need as a result. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So now we'll go to a client system. This is a client database. Now, I will show you three different options. First, I will show you a very low usage. Second, I will show you a high usage. And medium usage, as it should be. I'll show you a healthy license at the end. So, if you have OpenLM systems, now is the time to open them up. Now is the time to go to all the reports, select the server that you want, the feature that you're interested in, because we're going to go over three reports mainly: the license usage reports, denials, and license utilization report. So we'll start with the license usage report. So this is pretty common. Most of our users know this report, they use this report. But anyway, if you can click with me, open up your systems and click Start, then Reports, then License Usage. Now, what are we seeing here for those who don't know? So basically, we are seeing here the amount of licenses that we have. So we have 70 licenses for this feature. And we see the concurrent usage below. So right off the bat, we can tell that something is wrong here. There's not enough usage to justify 70 licenses. It maybe peaks at around 16 licenses. Now, even if we take a look at the heat map, we can see that it's pretty much green. Not a lot of usage. It's really not really well used, not well utilized at all. Now, if we take a look at denials report, so it verifies exactly what we wanted to know. So in order to get to the denials report, simply click Start, Reports, and Denials. Now, this denials report is set on the same time scale, on the same feature, with the same server, but it's not giving me data because I was never actually peaking right here, so I won't get denials. That's pretty self-explanatory, easy to understand. And now we'll move on to the license utilization report. Now, for those of you just joining, I see that 4 just joined. I'm going to go over 3 main reports of OpenLM, but I'm going to go over deeply into them. I will show you 3 different scenarios: one underused license, seriously overused license, and a healthy license. So basically, I clicked Start, Management, and License Utilization. Now, the license utilization gives you just that, gives you the utilization. So this is one of our less known reports. Whenever I talk to clients, they don't know of this report's existence. Now, this is a very powerful report. It shows you how many licenses you need for a certain quality of service. So let's say that I'm okay with the fact that 95% of the times users will get the license. 5% of the times they will not get the license, they will get denied. So if I'm okay with that, I see that I need 11 licenses for this feature. I have 70 and I only need 11. And if we take a look at the license usage report, if we try to verify that, then indeed we see that it's not really going over 16, but this report doesn't tell us what we need. Combining it with the license utilization report, we can see exactly what we need. We see that it's we're spending a lot of money in this point. Now all I did is just open up the license usage report, denials, and license utilization, and already we see that we get great insights on the data. So before I move on, if any of you have any questions, they want to ask something, they want to say something, whatever you choose, you can use the questions box of the GoToWebinar. You can use the chat box of GoToWebinar, just ask your question, and once I'll see it, I'll answer your question. So let's take a look at another scenario. This is a very low usage scenario. We see that we're spending a lot of money. If we take a look at this, we're not sure how much money we're spending, but if we take a look at the license utilization, we see that we have about 60 licenses worth of wasted money, wasted licenses. Now, let's take a look at another scenario. Let's take a look at a highball scenario. So meanwhile, you can all open your OpenLM interfaces. Just open up the license usage, denials, and license utilization. And select the feature that you're interested in. So go with me report by report and see your data, see your utilization, and maybe you'll see something that will surprise you. Okay, so now let's take a high usage feature. So what I did here, I just selected a pre-created filter. I clicked on the filters right here, just selected the filter, but if I want to create one, I have everything selected. I click here, give it a name, and then click save. But anyway, this, as you can see right away, you can see that there are problems here. You see that it's maxing out a whole lot. And comparing to the other report, to the low usage report, well, it's leaps and bounds from there. So you can see that it had a few hours that it was even maxed out right here. If we take a look at the heat map, we see that, whoa, it's seriously red. It's like 34 out of 34, maybe 33, but during working hours, we see that the situation is bad. So we want to get a better understanding of it. We can consider only working hours right here. And then we see that, whoa, the situation is dire. It's 100% almost all of the time. Now this is something that you want to avoid. You want to avoid maxing out the licenses. You want to avoid 100 licenses because then users simply start getting denied. So let's check out the denials report for the same time, for the same feature, the same server, same everything. But let's see now which denials we get, because we see that, well, it's maxing out, so it's supposed to get denials. So once we go to the denials right here, then we see a whole lot of denials. We see on this day and on this day and on this day it had like 62 denials. And it's confirmed by this graph. We see it was actually maxing out and it fits the denials that we have here. So basically, if you overlay the denials on top of the usage, you see that you're in big trouble. Now, going to the license utilization report, let's pull up the high usage and let's see how it looks like in the license utilization report. So it even tells us the quality of service of 95% cannot be reached. So even if we want 95%, we cannot get that. We don't have enough licenses. So this is around 80%, maybe 85% will be the amount of licenses that I have, meaning that like 20% of the times users get denied. Now this is verified by this report. So if we take a look at the license usage report, we see that about during working hours, let's click apply again, we see that it was maxed out for about 20 to 30% of the time. So we see that it's verified in the license utilization report, which is also considering only working hours. So this is a very bad place to be, meaning that right here at this hour, you had like 60 users that didn't do anything, that just tried to get the license. Every day you had that for that feature. So that's a real problem. Users, if it was one engineer sitting on his hand trying to get a license, well, it's not too bad. But if you got hundreds of engineers just sitting on their hands trying to get a license, that costs a lot to your organization. And let's not talk about the fact that it delays the project severely. Because if you can't get a license until 11 a.m., so from 8 a.m. he's just wasting his time. So this is not a place you want to be in. So if you see in the license utilization report that it even goes over the amount of licenses that you have and it's not even zeroing out, and you see that it kind of looks like this, it's almost 100% all of the time, and the quality of service gives you not a very good percentage, then you know that you're in trouble. You need a few more licenses. But let's say that we want to take a look at a healthy license. What does a healthy curve looks like? Because this curve, we saw that it's not healthy because we need more licenses. It has a big belly and it doesn't even zero out at a certain point. If we even show it unaggregated, then it completes the story. We see that 1 licenses, 2 licenses pulled, 3 licenses pulled, was like 0% of the times, where 33 and 34 and 32 and all this was the most amount of usage that it had, meaning that it's slanted towards the high end of the license spectrum right here. Whereas if we try to show the low usage, let's see where it shifts to. So now aggregated, so not aggregated, sorry. You see that it shifted to the left here, to the amount of lower, a smaller amount of licenses. So like 17% of the time was like 4%, 4 licenses, 5 licenses. It didn't even get to 17 licenses. Now, this is a huge difference, and it's really easy to see if your license is healthy or if it's not. If it's healthy, then let's take a look at it. Let's see how it looks like if you have a healthy and workable license, meaning that users don't get denied a lot and you don't need to buy more licenses. You don't need to buy less licenses. Let's take a look at it. So let's take the workshop demo. And now we'll see a curve where it's mostly being used. So you see this? Most of the licenses are mostly being used right here. It's not really peaking a whole lot. Like here it peaked, here it peaked, here it peaked. But you see the heat map, for example? You see it's pretty good. It's orange. It's mainly orange. It's 61 out of 70, 62. It looks okay, meaning that it's like getting up to like maybe 90%, maybe 95% the whole time. But again, you can't see an exact percentage from this. But this looks good. If we look at it from the working hours perspective, we see that it's pretty good. It's not being maxed out a lot. It's not very far from the license quantity. So it's good. But let's take a look at the denials. Maybe here I had 1,000 denials or something. So let's take a look at it. Let's go to denials, pull up our new workshop. And we see that we only had 2 events of denials. This had 7 denials, this had 1 denial. We see that right here and right here it was maxed out. Right here it was maxed out, but it got to 70. There was no 71st person trying to get a license. Now this is a good curve. You see it's not far from maxing out. Not a lot of denials after you've maxed out. Now the license utilization will look like, it will look similar to this, but it will get zeroed out. You see that it looks similar. The graph is similar, but if we show it aggregated, we also see it's kind of similar, but most of the usage is not concentrated right here in the 68, 70 and all that. It's concentrated around the 58, 56, around this zone. Meaning that if we want 95% quality of service, then it's 64 licenses. We have 70 licenses, and it's pretty good. We see that it's like at most, it gets up to 70, but 95% is a lot. And this quality of service shows you that you're not far from the amount of licenses you have, like 6 licenses difference. So that's good. That's a very good utilization. That's a very good curve, because you can see that it's not maxing out, but it is averaging around 60, 59 licenses, which is pretty good. And that's just about it. I don't want to overload you really with information. I just wanted to show you the 3 reports and how they can be combined to show you good utilization. So just going over it, we got the low utilization, which is pretty self-explanatory. It doesn't even go over 16 licenses. You see that its usage, wait. There we go. So you see the usage of it. It doesn't even go over like 16. If we show the aggregation, we see that it's based around here. And on the contrary, we got the high usage, where most of the usage is concentrated around the peak, around the license quantity. You see it's even going over the license quantity that I have here. Well, when it's a good utilization and it's a healthy license, the curve will look like this, where it doesn't go over the amount of licenses that I have. It flattens out around here, and you see most of the usage near the amount of licenses that I have. And this is all confirmed. You can confirm it with this report, and you understand the whole picture about the health of the license. Now, before I move on to reading some of your questions and answering them, so before I move on to answering questions and all that, I just want to show you a few things that you probably missed in the OpenLM interface. So if I reload this page, then OpenLM will open up with reports with pre-made filters that I chose. So it will automatically open that way. It will load all the reports that I need. You see, this is a demo system. So I told it to open license servers, license usage denials, license utilization, and licenses not in use when I open the application, when I open the OpenLM user interface. Now it gets all the reports and it compiles everything, loading the data, and that's it. And you'll get everything right there when you open it. So how did I manage to do that? So all the reports in OpenLM have this little icon right here. This icon is the OpenLM icon. If you click on it, you see properties. So let's go to properties. And I can open at application startup, and I can select the filter that I want it to start up with. I can also enable auto refresh if you want to keep this report live. Now this is in all reports, in denials, in license usage, in license utilization. Just about all the reports in OpenLM, you can decide which you want opened. But also, if we click here, we can add a shortcut to desktop. Now, where does it add it to? So I select the filter, click OK, and we can see that it's actually added not to the Windows desktop, but right here to this OpenLM desktop. So you can have many different reports dotting your desktop. So let's take denials, for example. Let's add a shortcut there. So also for denials. And that's about it. But if you have reports that have columns, for example, this one. So if you click here and columns, you can select which columns you want to show and which columns you want to hide. For example, license activity report. It will have a few more columns than what is shown. So if we click here, columns, there are like a few columns that I didn't choose to show. So this is also a nifty trick that you can use. And now I would like to go over to your questions. If you have questions about the reports that you've seen, the aggregation of them, the combination between them. So go ahead, ask away. Yes, John is asking about the utilization report. Now I'm just gonna recap real quick. You might have not have heard that. The utilization report, what it shows, each dot represents the amount of time spent on each concurrent level, meaning that one license pooled, only one user uses the application 10% of the time. Two licenses pooled simultaneously, two people working at the same time was like 9% of the times, and so on. Now the aggregated, what it shows you, it shows you encapsulated data. Like if this is 83%, how can this be 73%? Well, in order to get to 2 licenses, you must have 1 license pooled first. In order to get to the fact that 2 users use the application, you must have 1 user use the application first. So this is why they're encapsulated one within the other. So this is why it looks like that when it's aggregated, and it looks like that when it's not aggregated. This simply gives you a better visual representation of the license utilization. John is asking, are the license features automatically converted into product names, or do we have to decipher them? Well, it depends. Depends on which application are you talking about. So if you go to Start, Administration, Product Packages, then first of all, you see that there are many features that already have a product name, a normal product name. They already have that. And when you go to the report and you want to select them, so you got the feature, but you also got the product name. So let's select this feature, for example. Let's try to find it. So there we go, it's this one. Now, I changed this name. I called it AutoCAD Package 222. You can change that if I want. Now, the naming right here will show in the filters that you choose. This will be the name. This will be the product name. Now, you're probably asking yourself, well, where did they get this list and how can I get it? Well, it's a list that you get by default from OpenLM. When installing OpenLM, you just get it by default. Each year we create a new file. We update the list each year. For example, it's 2017, but now I have already 2018 and 19. So we update it each year. And each time you update OpenLM, you upgrade OpenLM, it also upgrades that table. But let's say that you don't have a product name there. You have a feature, certain feature, and it doesn't have a product name at all. Let's try and find one. Let's say this one, VP Solver. It doesn't have a product name, so you can add your own product name, and then you'll know you'll see a descriptive name of it. It will be much easier to filter them out. So one thing that might happen, let's say that you install OpenLM server on a certain server that doesn't have any connection to the internet. So it might not have updated. What you'll need to do, you can open up the server configuration tool. Inside the server configuration tool, you can go to Advanced, and click here. Update product feature table, update feature packages table. Update both of them and it will update this table right here. Philip wants to see how to set up a shortcut again, so gladly, no problem. Any report has this icon right here, the OpenLM icon. Just click it and add a shortcut to desktop. Now this will add a shortcut of that report to the desktop right here. You can also have it open automatically by clicking the icon, Properties, and Open at Application Startup. You can select the filter. Just like when I refreshed the Easy Admin here, it opened all the reports I needed automatically. I didn't have to filter anything. No, you're welcome, Philip. Anyone else has any questions regarding reports, regarding OpenLM? Okay, guys. So if there are no further questions, I thank you very much for joining this webinar with me today. If you have any more questions, you want to know something, just call us up, send us an email, call us over chat, whatever you choose. Let me show you all your options. So if you go to the OpenLM website, there are a few options. First of all, you can send an email to support@openlm.com. We'll be happy to assist you with any issue you have, any question you have. Or you can click here on the right and it will open up a chat box. With this chat box, you can call us up. It rings in our office. The support team picks it up. If you need sales or technical support, maybe you're Japanese, maybe you're Russian, we cover all those countries. Now you can also click Contact Us, and it will give you a phone number that you can use, and just simply call us up, one of our centers right here, and that's it. Feel free, really feel free to ask for support, to ask for a knowledge base, for help. Oh, and one last thing. If you click support and knowledge base, you get all our documentation. Interfacing license managers, installing OpenLM, upgrading different modules, anything. So support, knowledge base, you also get that if you want. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again in the next webinar. Bye.